What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It has been a cool minute since we've done an episode of East versus West. I'm here joined by my host today, Mr. Eddytainment himself.
Yes, sir.
Where's those Eddy Bucks at, bro?
Hold on. They haven't printed yet.
Haven't printed yet.
The Federal Reserve's holding it up.
That'd be cool. Like when we go to Horror Nights, we can just hand those out.
Yeah, I ordered some stuff to hand out, but it's not Eddy Bucks, unfortunately.
Yeah, I want an autographed Eddy Buck.
I ordered these, but for Eddytainment.
I saw that on his post.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that. I'm gonna actually get that just so I can have that button.
Yeah, I feel like it's a really good way of like, thanking the people that watch, and also people who ask like, oh, you YouTube? Yeah, check out my channel.
Yeah.
Here.
So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hit him up. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. Although we love him. Orlando fan page. HHN Orlando fan page. That's his thing, right?
I believe so,
Yeah.
I'm terrible at remembering names exactly.
I am too. And it's sad because I have to remember a lot of names in this world. Anyway, East versus West, back to what it's originally was written to do, which is cover haunt news on coast to coast. And there's a lot to cover. We have not talked haunt since, I believe, 2019, as far as some 2020, a little bit 2020, for pandemic haunt season.
Yeah, we talked a little bit. We had actually we had the first podcast with like everybody on it.
Yeah.
All the Boo Bros. Speaking of, you're watching this on the Boo Bros channel. If you guys aren't aware, it's the only place where you could find this level of like creators, or this many creators from east to west, covering haunts, theme parks, travel, and much more. You won't find it anywhere else. Each of us have our own individual channels. So if you enjoy any particular creator, make sure to follow them on their individual channels if you don't follow us all already. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for the Boo Bros.
Covering 3 states, potentially trying to get out to more, but 3 states held down between Florida. Where you at, Eddy? DC. There you go. And California, man. Three damn states. Let's jump into it, man. Let's start off with Halloween Horror Nights, man. The show that I think that started this show. You know what I mean? Without Halloween Horror Nights, there's no East versus West, man. That's the whole reason why we started East versus West, because of Halloween Horror Nights. First event we can coast to coast collab on and compare and contrast and whatnot. Why don't you start up on the East Coast, man? A lot's been going down as far as merchandise. A lot of shared properties have been announced. But let's talk about everything that you've gotten announced thus far at the East Coast event.
Yeah. So first and foremost, the first official announcement. Well, we keep on circling back to this, but the first official announcement was technically Puppet Theater.
Right.
But now it's kind of like dissipated into non-existence. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But then the first official announcement of 2021 was Beetlejuice, a house that we had last year. I didn't get to enjoy it, so I'm as oblivious to it as you are on the West Coast.
It was.
I know, it was the closing weekend, so it was really, it was cool if you were there, because I'm definitely a huge fan of like being first or trying something that not everybody gets to try.
Right.
So I look forward to being able to try that out this year. But not much I could say about that particular house. Actually, all the houses that have been announced are houses that I'm looking forward to. But as far as my experience, 3 of them were never at the event, and one of them, well, not completely, but one of them was at the event just recently, but I didn't get to experience. I'm excited for Beetlejuice. I'm a huge fan of Beetlejuice. Monique's sister is a huge fan of Beetlejuice. When we were there in September for what I thought was going to be Halloween Horror Nights, and then it ended up getting canceled, I ended up buying her a ton of merchandise because she's a huge fan. Are you a big fan of Beetlejuice?
I love Beetlejuice. I'm a big Michael Keaton fan. So yeah. Beetlejuice is like one of his best roles he's ever done, in my opinion. So
yeah. So Beetlejuice coming to the event. After that, the next announcement, I'm trying to make sure that I get this in order, was The Haunting of Hill House.
Yes.
Right. Okay. The next announcement was The Haunting of Hill House.
That was a shared IP coast to coast.
Correct. And it's also what basically solidified the fact that Halloween or Hollywood is actually coming back.
Yes.
Because and dude, I was actually really surprised. You give me some input, because I haven't asked anybody. Like, when this house was announced, did you guys get like an official, like, Hollywood is back type of like announcement, or it just was like coming to Hollywood, Haunting of Hill House?
Yeah, I woke up that morning. Everyone was blowing up my phone that day. I think that week I was sick, so I was at home. I was kind of just sleeping in bed all day, resting and stuff. But I ended up waking up to a bunch of text messages, social media alerts, everything. Like everyone was blowing up my phone. And I look, and it says the Haunting of Hill House is coming to Halloween Horror Nights in both Orlando and Hollywood this year. So I was like, oh, so confirms we're finally having the event this year after theme parks opening, construction resuming, even some new stuff being constructed and whatnot. So we were like, we're going to get the event this year. But the one thing that you got to remember, too, is John Murdy no longer runs the Halloween Horror Nights Twitter account for Hollywood like he used to back in the day. But I don't know what the whole controversy behind that is or whatnot, but he currently just tweets off of his personal account. So when that announcement did come, he kind of came out and formally, like, they didn't really say it, but, we're back. We've been working since the pandemic, and, Haunting of Hill House being one of the properties we were very excited to bring to Horror Nights. We finally get to share it with you. So he was kind of like, he's kind of like the backbone of, like, if you want to see more info about whatever gets announced or what's about to get announced, you just go to his personal page. You know what I mean? So he's still running PR, but in a way not he's not getting paid for it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I just found it interesting that for the return of the Hollywood event that, hadn't been talked about for a while, they didn't make it a little bit more grand, I guess. But
I think it was a huge surprise regardless, because when you got that maze, like everyone was going nuts. Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's fine! It's gonna happen this year." You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And by far, my most anticipated maze. I am looking forward to the Haunting of Hill House greatly. I mean, I don't know too many people that don't like Haunting of Hill House. Unfortunately, I do know one specific person that doesn't like Haunting of Hill House. But
not me. I like it.
Yeah, not him. It's another fellow boo bro. Another fellow boo bro. I love him. I don't get why he doesn't.
Didn't he also happen to pronounce the name wrong in his video?
Possibly, but I'll stop shying away from saying his name. It's Michael from Hallowed Thrills.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were talking about Zombie Chris. I don't think Zombie Chris was too big of a fan of it either.
I don't know that he's not a fan of it.
He's a fan, but not as hardcore as a lot of people are.
Yeah, but he did purposely like butcher the name. Like
that was hilarious. Like, hold on. Before we go any further, I gotta put that clip in this video. Here's Zombie Chris butchering the Haunting of Hill House name on purpose.
Yes, and more than one time.
More than one time. Yeah, that's what made me believe that he wasn't a fan of the show. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, he butchered the character. But Zombie Chris being Zombie Chris, he's a freaking jokester. We love him for that.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this particular house. And when this announcement came out, just like when Beetlejuice came out, they released a piece of merch.
Yeah.
So every house and the coming houses that we're about to talk about came out with a piece of merch. At least one of them did. So the shirts have been freaking amazing. I've been hitting up my boy Losh to help me
get one,
bag the shirts, know. And
like, hey, bro, I'll Venmo you right now. Give me this one. Yeah. I've seen the text, man.
And shout out to Losh. He's currently in Vegas getting us some great content. Well, not Boo Bros. He's getting his own great content on his channel. So make sure to check him out.
Dodger game. I didn't get to see him though, man. I'm so
pissed. I know. But when I see him finally for the opening night of Halloween Horror Nights, he's gonna have like a whole wardrobe of clothes for me.
Goodies for you, bro. But you know what? It's funny that you bring that up, because I think that's really cool. If something that they do that we don't get over here is that they let you guys, even though if it's like for a weekend or for a day, give you the opportunity to buy the merch ahead of time. So when the event opens, you can rock that merch. You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, my hope is that it is limited merch. Probably not, at least not all of it.
Yeah.
But in the way that they're releasing it, it would be so much cooler and add so like a lot more like I guess sentimental value to the fact that you were able to purchase it and it's not going to be returning.
Well, I guess you could say really all Halloween Horror Nights and every year merchandise has always been limited edition, because they only make so much of stuff for that year because they promote just for that year. Whereas other haunts like Not Scary Farm are smart, where they can make lanyards and hats that just say Not Scary Farm in it, no year, and they can just keep reselling that shit every year.
I mean, yeah, the merch is definitely unique to that year, but they make it in large quantities, and it ends up at their like their like garage sale thing that they have. So they definitely make enough for everybody to get. I like the idea of having an item that not everybody could get. I like the idea of having an item that could potentially grow in value for that same reason. When you purchase something, and mostly with your hard-earned money, you want to make sure that if at anything you have minimal loss, no loss, or at least some return.
Exactly.
But this is me talking too much finance. Back to theme parks and horror.
That's his career, so that's just a daily for him,
So Haunting of Hill House announced. Super excited. I was actually in the park when it got announced with Losh and Chris. So that was also a unique experience.
Just, like, jump up and down with excitement.
Yeah, man. And we were filming. We went to purchase our merch. So it was a unique experience that I've never had before.
Right.
So I'm excited for the house for two reasons. I love the show and also the way that I was able to experience the announcement. Right. But then after that, we got a two for one special.
Okay, let's pause that for a second. I think this is the first time ever since I've gone to Horror Nights that I've ever seen a 2-for announcement.
It's the first time ever that I've seen a 2-for announcement for IPs.
For me, it was a 2-for announcement for mazes in general. I've never seen that. Like, I've seen it in the same week, but not the same day.
I think I've seen multiple originals announced
on the same days.
I think so.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not saying 100%, but I feel confident in saying that I think I've seen multiple houses announced, but only if they were originals. Never if they were intellectual properties, aka IPs.
Oh my God. Let's so we got
Texas
Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We'll tackle one at a time.
Yeah.
And I think everybody in the Boo Bros, shout out to the Boo Bros, is a huge fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the most part. I mean, I said this when we had another previous podcast that we were talking about the announcement with Connor, Chris, and I think that might have been it. Connor, Chris, and Michael. And we were talking about it. And I've always thought that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like the perfect horror with mild gore without being like straight up gore.
Right.
So that it doesn't necessarily disgust people, but still like uses that gore element to give you your more foundational horror.
Right.
And that's something that I think is very unique to them. They're not like a Hostel that's extremely gory. They're not like Saw that's extremely gory. They walk that line very fine. And a lot of people have been pointing to the fact that this particular property is back to like the original film, and we're reutilizing a property that has already been at the event, and I've already walked through. But
let's be honest, bro. Freddy, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface will always be at the event to the end of damn time. They may not be there every single year, but they're gonna be making their return every so often. In 2012 we had a Texas Chainsaw Massacre maze based off the original 1974 film. But I never got to go through it. And I went that year. It was just that was before I started doing front of the line. But I went that year, didn't get to go through it. So I'm excited that it's going to be returning for the original 1974 film, because every time I've ever seen Leatherface, it's been for like Texas Chainsaw 2, the sequels and stuff. And I want to see the original, so I'm excited for this one.
And I mean, there's technological advances, things that make it so that even if they were to use the same exact ideas, they'd be able to present them to you better. So that alone is exciting, to be able to walk through.
What makes it exciting for me too is they're putting ours in the mummy queue, and to my knowledge, since I've been going through mazes there, not one bad maze has been put there.
Gotcha. And whenever a remake of your favorite movie comes out, I mean, a lot of people think two things: either they're going to ruin it, or I'm so happy that this movie is coming out again.
Right.
And that's kind of what we're experiencing with a maze, or a house, depending on what coast you're on, that you don't get to experience too often. So I'm excited for it. I mean, I understand with the circumstances that, they got to make do with what they have. Right. And I don't, although this is a house that they've done before, with a concept of a particular year that they've done before, I think they could still make it unique.
I want you to keep this in mind when I say this next part.
Okay.
They just, about a few months ago, wrapped and edited and did a first test screening of the sequel to the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre film that's supposed to be coming out, a direct sequel to the first one. So don't be surprised within the next month or so that we get a trailer for that next film, because it is supposed to release the end of this year or early next year. So don't be surprised if we get a trailer for that film and that's used for promotional for this maze.
Hey, I'm all for that. I love when they continue the franchise. Unfortunately, it isn't always great, but I mean, franchises like, you know, Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers, those guys are goats, so they'll live on in infamy forever. They'll always be rehashed out and presented in a new form. But yeah, that's the announcement that we got. But it wasn't the only announcement that we got that day. We got another shared announcement, and that was The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. Yes. And for this particular house was the house that we ended up getting a piece of merch for. Unfortunately, for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we did not get a piece of merch. And to this day, I think so far, this is the best piece of merch that has been released for Halloween Horror Nights 30.
It looks bitchin'. They took a lot of inspiration off the old classic posters and stuff, so I like that.
Yeah, and not just that, they to now up till, you know, we still got another 6 house announcements for Orlando.
You guys got 6, and I shouldn't say you guys anymore because I'm heading out to Orlando this year, man.
I know.
I get to experience both this year, and I'm excited.
I know, that'll be awesome, and I hopefully will be able to experience both. It's nothing solid just yet, but I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
You're talking about the merch ideas for brides and how.
No. I was transitioning into the announcement video.
Yeah. Oh God.
So out of the 4 houses announced, with 6 houses left, currently this is the best announcement video that or announcement trailer that they've made for a house for 30.
I'm gonna go as far as saying this is the best announcement trailer I've ever seen at the event any year I've ever gone.
No, you can't.
No, look, I am, dude, because that was fucking beautiful. Like, that was the first ever live action Universal Monsters trailer that we got. I mean, the first one was they had like them as shadows.
Are you saying specifically for Universal Monsters or just
all time?
No,
I can't. I loved every minute of this because
it's a great trailer.
I really like when they do more theatrics rather than just showing scares and then showing people get scared.
Oh yeah.
Where they saved mostly that for the end, which it was just one scene. But
yeah,
I don't know, dude. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just because we haven't gotten announcements in so long, and now we're getting bombarded by them. But this one, from the moment it started, like you just see Frankenstein's monster laying on the bed, and then like someone working on him, and then it's revealed it's the bride working on him. But then she like has a visitor behind her that's trying to stop her from building it. And then like that scene where she like jabs him in with the electricity, and she's like holding the bride of Dracula. I like lost my shit when I saw that, dude. I had goosebumps, man. I had to watch that back like 4 or 5 times because it was so good.
No, amazing announcement trailer. But I think, I mean, this is my personal opinion. People will disagree, yourself included. But I think at this point, this didn't dethrone the Stranger Things announcement video with the upside down and the bike in front of Universal Studios and then it flipping.
That's my second favorite now, but it was good.
I think that has to be the first favorite, the best ever, and it also was the one that trendsetted and made it so that they started getting more creative with their announcements.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean, I think I'm just more of a Monsters fan.
So am I.
So it's like when I saw that trailer, I just was like, holy shit, this is like awesome. Like I can't wait to, like, this is my most hyped maze so far this season.
Yeah. And I love Universal Monsters much better than I like Stranger Things. I'm actually not a huge fan of the Stranger Things show. I only watch it because it comes to Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah. I've actually,
you're invested 3 seasons in, you got to keep going now.
I will, but I didn't like the first and second season. I actually thought the third season was the best out of all.
I think the third season is the best out of all of them too.
Yeah, but that means you have to get through 2 seasons before you actually.
The first season's not bad. The second season was a little slow in the beginning, and then like at the end started picking up. But like
Those
the
two
third
kitty.
season, I think the third season is because like, okay, the show takes place in the 80s, but the third season really highlighted at the height of the 80s when they started introducing malls and things. So like a lot of people from that generation like watch this and go, oh shit, I remember all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Stranger Things. So to the point that, you know, I'm just giving them their just due from an announcement trailer perspective. I although I'm a much bigger fan of the monsters, I'm giving Stranger Things the
I
nod for
mean,
best announcement trailer.
let's just put this out there right now, Hornites. If you're watching, there's another Netflix property I want you guys to turn into a maze, and that is
Bird Box. Blindfold everybody.
You just messed up my like anticipation, you know? And that's Fear Street, 1994, 1978, and 1666. Make it happen, Hornites.
With blindfolds. Boom, go.
That has nothing to do with the show. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited, man, because we're getting music by Slash again. Slash, for some reason, loves the West Coast, hates you guys. So
I know.
Yeah, you know,
straight up.
But this is the third year in a row. Slash is doing Universal Monsters, fourth time overall being at the event. He started with Clowns, then Universal Monsters, then Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Now The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. The guy, you know, just for being a guitar player, can score a fucking maze so perfectly and beautifully. Like I'm still waiting for the Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman music to come out because it was so good. But man, I'm so excited to see what he came up with, especially because now he probably knew about it ahead of time and had that whole year off to perfect it the way he originally wanted, where he probably gets it like at the end of the year for Horror Nights, and then he starts working on it until like the very, you know, last month. This last year, he probably knew about it, worked in, you know, found out they weren't doing an event, so then he probably worked even more to perfect it this year, which I expect it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be great on both coasts. Now, I think I've kind of ruined your part of it, but that's been all the announcements for Orlando. I think I'll let Anthony kind of speak on the West Coast.
I think that was actually a lot. You know, it saved us a lot more time doing it.
Okay.
That way.
Hey,
you know, we everything they announced we're sharing, so why not give our thoughts about it together?
Oh, you know what I mean? Well, actually, to that point, this announcement actually solidified that you guys aren't getting Beetlejuice. Although when The Haunting of Hill House came out and we got a joint announcement and didn't get a joint announcement for Beetlejuice that already existed for us, it was kind of solidified then, but then the actual verbiage and the writing of this one solidified it with this announcement. So
no Beetlejuice at the event this year so far, we know. And as of construction updates for Universal right now, it's looking like we're not getting Halloween 3, which I'm very devastated about. But I'm just hoping next year Murdy will kind of apologize and bring it back to the 2022 event now that they'll probably have more of a budget to do it. And so
yeah.
I don't think it's off the table for Murdy because, you know, if Murdy was already this close to doing it this year, I don't think it's off the table. I think he's going to keep trying to go for it to please some of the fans of that film.
Yeah, I don't think that's off the table ever. It's kind of like Killer Clowns.
Mike Aiello shelf there until they can try to perfect it and get it.
You know, Mike Aiello said, yeah, he wants to do it, but he wanted a movie before he did it. And up till the fans roared loud enough, he didn't do it. And then he finally did it. And I think it
started coast to coast right there.
Yeah, and I think that's what will happen with Halloween 3. Although I whenever I see Halloween, I want to see Michael Myers. I am a huge fan of Halloween 3, so I look forward to seeing it come to the event eventually.
I just think Halloween 3 is just, if you really think about it, such a fucking sinister film, dude. Like, this guy was legit about to kill, and we don't even know because the way the movie ends, it just cuts off. But this guy was ready to kill, like, all the kids in America plus their families, dude. He was going to do, like, a fucking global sacrifice.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that is fucking nuts, dude. So, yeah, there's a lot I could see them do with this. Those guys in the gray suits can pop out every now and then. It'd be a fun time. Let's talk about Howl-O-Scream, dude, because we're both getting it this year. It's going to be a fun time. We got confirmed we're doing 3 mazes. We're going to have a couple scare zones and a couple other scare, like, trails or something like that. So I don't know what the difference between a trail and a zone is. Might find out when I get there. But nothing as of yet has been announced. Tickets did go on sale on the West Coast, so that's a good sign. I'm going to be buying my tickets soon. I think Rob already bought his tickets. Howling Hour, go check out the Howling Hour. Rob already bought his tickets, so I'll probably be buying his tickets the same so I can go with him that weekend and we can go do it. But That's about really it for Howl-O-Scream on our end. How is it looking on your guys' end this year for Busch Gardens, man?
So for Busch Gardens Williamsburg, we're kind of on the same boat, except for we don't have any confirmation on how many houses are coming now. I do have some insider info, and I'll share it here. You heard it first here. I talked to you guys about it on the group chat. Busch Gardens has not made any announcements about what's coming to the event, what's going to be returning, and what's going to be like not returning. And it's easy to assume that everything will return given the circumstances, but my understanding is 3 houses will not be returning, and typically Busch Gardens Williamsburg has 6.
Okay.
So half of the houses will not be returning. And I also heard rumblings of a Edgar Allan Poe house, which would be super cool. I went through the Edgar Allan Poe house at Halloween Horror Nights, and it's one of my favorite houses that I've ever been through.
It's like when you thought of Busch Gardens and stuff, when you brought up Edgar Allan Poe, we had one here at Knott Scary Farm one year called Forevermore. And you'd walk through each scene, but each scene would be a different story. So you hear someone narrating as Edgar Allan Poe. It's supposed to be Edgar Allan Poe, and he's narrating his work, his stories and stuff. And as you walk through, it was a modern take on what his stories were and stuff. So you got to walk through a bunch of scenes and the Raven and all that. So it was a fun time. That was actually one of my favorite original mazes I've ever went through.
Dude, I remember there was at Halloween Horror Nights, there was a room where you walked into, and then you would have all these people dressed as ravens.
Yeah.
But there was mirrors too, so you couldn't tell what was a mirror and what was actually a person. And then there was another room where you walked in, and the floor was beating.
Right.
Doom, 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 doom. It was amazing. But yeah, that's all I kind of have. But it's for sure coming back. And they're already talking about what's it called, a pass holder preview night.
Nice.
It's on the calendar as to be determined, but that typically means that it's either the day before they open officially to the general public or the weekend before they open officially to the general public. And I think they're opening on a Sunday, which probably means that pass holder preview is going to be that Saturday.
That's usually like the final dress rehearsal for everyone, huh? To get everybody until opening night. Usually, isn't that usually how that goes? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I bring my fans along.
Yeah.
I always try to go to those. You get to experience the event without the huge crowds. That's always a big benefit.
But there's breaking news actually coming out of Orlando's event today. They just announced one of their first mazes, which is going to be Cell Block Zombies.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Sounds like a little Walking Dead-ish to me, but
yeah, it was partially leaked, and then they kind of just sat down on the leak and said, all right, fine, we'll release it.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to actually look into this one, so you could probably talk on it a little bit.
I just saw the promo picture look really cool. They sent it in the group chat, and I think Zombie Chris, I think he's looking at covering that event this year too.
Oh yeah.
Damn, this channel's gonna have nothing but Halloween Horror Nights and Howl-O-Scream this year, man.
Was this Busch Garden, or was it Busch Gardens or SeaWorld? That announced
Howl-O-Scream,
today.
I think that was SeaWorld.
SeaWorld? Okay, cool. So, and that's another thing. This is the first time that SeaWorld Orlando or that Howl-O-Scream is coming to Orlando.
Yeah.
So,
dude, you know what we got to do? We got to do a nice combination video where like we all do an intro. Be like, this is Anthony reporting from San Diego, Howl-O-Scream. How you looking over there, Eddie?
Yeah.
Boom, this is Eddie from, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Howl-O-Scream. Everything's all fine here. How you guys doing down there in Orlando?
That'd
Boom,
be dope.
you know what I mean? Like, just keep it going. So,
yeah.
I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a fun time. A new haunt, something new, something fresh. A little bit of a drive, but it's worth it for getting scared. You know what I mean? So.
How far is it for you?
About an hour and a half, 2 hours.
See, mine is 2.5 hours.
Oh, okay, so we're about the same.
Yeah, man, and I've been doing that drive for a minute now, at least for the past 2 years.
Has it been like that only since you moved to your new place, or like were you closer when you lived at your old place?
No, I was further. At my old place, it was like 3.5 hours.
Oh, so maybe. You moved about an hour closer, huh?
Yeah, I moved about an hour closer and 30 minutes from King's Dominion.
There you go. So
yeah.
You can probably see a lot of King's Dominion footage as of right now on Eddytainment.
Yeah, a ton.
The last thing I want to talk about, obviously, Howl-O-Scream. We're going to keep you guys updated, East versus West. Same thing with Halloween Horror Nights. Not Scary Farm, an event out on our coast in the West Coast where I was always comparing to Howl-O-Scream because it was the same concept. You know, they all do originals. It's an original event, and so it was the closest thing I had to in Howl-O-Scream when we would do East versus West Coast comparisons. So as far as Not Scary Farm goes, construction is well underway, and it's looking really good. I'm super excited, man. We got an official announcement that Not Scary Farm will be returning September 16th through October 31st, 2021. It is coming back. I cannot wait. The only thing they told us is that look out in the next coming weeks because they're going to be slowly releasing announcements. So nice. I'm stoked, man. Not Scary Farm returning. One of my favorite events. Literally 15 minutes up the freeway from me. So, you know, that's why I'm there more than Horror Nights.
So much to do this haunt season and not enough time.
Not enough time. I got to schedule this really well and start saving a lot of money.
Yeah. Take my money, haunt season.
Take my money. It's every year, man.
I want to do Hollywood, and if I end up doing Hollywood, then I probably end up doing Knott's. And I'm also planning on getting the East Coast trifecta of Howl-O-Screams completed. But if I'm on the West Coast, why not get the
West Coast?
Get 4.
Be the only boo bro that got to do a tour of Howl-O-Scream.
I know. Well, I would have to go to
Texas.
Texas, yeah.
It's close. It's California. You just be up and down real quick on the way home.
Well, my parents live in Houston, so
there you go. Perfect.
Wait, we're in? Is it San Antonio?
San Antonio.
Okay. No, that's far, man. Houston and San Antonio, Dallas, all those places are so far from each other.
What you do is like you go fly to your parents' house, you go visit them for a night, then the next day you leave, and then you go to San Antonio, and boom.
Yeah.
Then from there you just go home.
Yeah.
That sounds expensive.
It does, man. This whole entire haunt season sounds expensive. I mean,
God.
Opening night for Halloween Horror Nights, I booked 7 nights, and now in order to get Busch Gardens opening night in Orlando, if I want to, I would have to extend that like another 5 days.
That sounds like negative $200 in your account right now, man.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Nothing's 100, but I want that's the game plan. I might trim off of one end to extend on another end of the vacation. We'll see.
Sounds good. But with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the original format of East versus West, man. It's good to be back to share some news and talk with Eddy about some news. If you guys did enjoy East versus West, consider subscribing to the channel and hit those bell notifications to be aware every time we put up a new video. We're putting various content, whether it be theme park. Lately, a lot of it's been haunt, just because season's rolling around. A lot of announcements are coming out, so like Eddy said in the beginning of the video, there's a lot of us, and all of our channels are in the the channel section right there on the YouTube page. You can find all of our channels, our accounts. If you guys like one specific person, you want to see more of their stuff, all the channels and links will be there. Special thank you to Zombie Chris and Losh TV. And Connor Florida. They are the 3 hearts of this channel that keep the blood flowing and the heart beating, man. You know what I mean? If Chris is on it, Losh is a lot of the behind the scenes person that you guys don't really get to see logistics of. And Connor's just on every fucking video almost. So I mean,
yeah, he is. Hey, and don't forget SoCal, man. He puts out solo videos, which takes a lot more time to get out. So, you gotta.
We're just waiting on one person to start doing content here, man.
Rob.
No, the haunt line. Where's he at, bro? We need him.
I don't know, man.
Do a podcast or something.
He'll be here eventually, I'm sure.
I got him. But with all that being said, follow us on social media at Boo Bros Inc. on both Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find us. And from there, again, you can find our individual pages as far as Twitter and Instagram go. I'm Anthony from the Nights of Horror. You can find me on the Nights of Horror YouTube channel, Nights of Horror on Twitter, and at the Nights of Horror on Instagram. He's trying to talk. And Eddy, go ahead.
And I'm Eddy from Eddytainment. You can find me on Eddytainment on YouTube, Eddytainment1 on Instagram and Twitter.
And that's it, man. That's another episode of East versus West. We'll see you guys next time for another update or coast comparison.
Deuces.